we're digging into the emotional side of things because emotions drive sales. Logic only comes in later to justify it. If we don't get to the emotional triggers, the driving force of this project, someone else is going to, and they're going to get the project. Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, Joshua Gillow. And today we're going to talk about why your perfect sales presentation is actually costing you money and costing you deals. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's dive in here. All right. So picture this. You just finished what you think was an incredible sales meeting. You walked the property. You took measurements. You asked all the correct questions. You explained your process in detail. You didn't forget a thing. You showed them your beautiful portfolio book. You talked about materials, your certifications, your 20 years of experience. You answered every single question they had. You spent over 2 hours giving them the most thorough presentation of your life. And you left thinking, I absolutely crushed that. Then you follow up. And they say, we're going in a different direction. You're confused, frustrated, maybe even angry. Now, how's that possible? I gave them everything. What more could they possibly want? Here's what happened. You talked yourself out of the sale. And today, we're going to talk about why that happens and how to fix it. This is core number 1. Talk less, close more. So let's start with the problem. Most contractors think that more talking equals more convincing and you're more likely to sell the project. They think if they just explain enough, the homeowner will see the value and say yes. So they dominate the conversation. They rattle off every material they use, every step of their process, every certification they have, every project they've ever done. They're trying to sound smart, trying to prove their worth. But here's what's actually happening. The more you talk, the less they trust you. Man, this was a hard pill for me to swallow. I thought that I had to be the smartest guy in the room. They were hiring me to be the expert. So I would rattle off all of this stuff that I just mentioned, all of it. And I would see the glazing of the eyes. I would see the disinterest coming across. I didn't see it during the meeting, but now when I think back about it, I could see it. And I didn't realize it. I thought I was doing the right thing. So why does this happen? It's because you're talking, not listening. That's what was my problem. I was talking more than I was listening. And when I was listening, I was thinking about what I was going to say next, not even listening to what they're saying. When you're not listening, you can't uncover what truly matters, what they truly want. You're just guessing. You're pitching what you think matters, not what they actually care about. Let me give you an example. I once watched a contractor spend 45 minutes explaining his paver installation process. The base prep, the geogrid, the edge restraint, polymeric sand, the over basing the edges, all those things. The homeowner's eyes glazed over. She didn't care about any of that. You know what she cared about? She wanted a space where her teenage daughter could actually go out and hang out instead of just being locked in her room. She wanted a space that she could go out there and connect with her daughter. But the contractor never asked about that. He was too busy talking about sand and edge restraint and everything else that contractors like to talk about. Here's what the research says. Sales conversations should follow the 80-20 rule. The prospect should talk 80% of the time, and you should talk 20% of the time. And most contractors do the opposite. They talk 80% of the time, and the prospect talks 20%. Now, I know this because I used to be that guy. And here's why I used to lose and why most contractors lose, because here's the truth. People don't buy what you sell. They buy what they tell you they want. But if we're not listening or asking questions, how will we ever know what that is? And when they're talking, they're actually revealing. When the homeowner's talking, they're actually revealing all the stuff you need, what they really want, what they're afraid of, what matters most to them, how to sell it to them. They even they even show you, if you listen well enough, listeners, they actually tell you how to sell them. It's a wild thing. but it's so true. Your job is to listen for the gold and then sell it back to them. Not pitch what you think they need. That's what most contractors do. They ask one or two surface level questions, then launch into their pitch. So, what are you looking for? The contractor might ask. Homeowner might say, we want a patio. Contractor says, great. Let me tell you about how we build our patios and how great they are. Wrong. Don't do that. You just missed the opportunity to go deeper. Now, here's the shift. If you stop pitching and start asking, your job, the first half of this entire conversation is about you getting deeper with them. It's not about selling. It's about discovering. Discover what they truly need, want, and desire, what they're afraid of, what outcome they're really after when they're buying this outdoor living space. And you do that through great questions. Not just any questions, but great questions. Let me give you a before and after. So, before, as a weak question. These are some weak questions for you. So, what are you looking for? When do you want to start? What's your budget? These are all very surface level, transactional questions that don't uncover any kind of real story. Now, take those questions, throw them out. Start using these questions. These are powerful questions. What inspired you to reach out now? We're not looking for yes or no answers here, listeners. We're looking for questions that dive deeper. So what inspired you to reach out now? There's some reason why now is the right time for them. We need to figure out what that is. When you imagine the space finished, what does it feel like? What does that space feel like? Now, I know this might sound crazy to ask people for outdoor living spaces these questions, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to elicit a completely different response in your clients when you take it away from the logical, what do you want, how much you got kind of routine that most contractors use, and you go deeper into a deeper probing discovery process. When you imagine this space finished, what does the space feel like? Another question would be, why is this important to you? Another question would be, what would this mean to your family to have this space completed? Those kinds of questions elicit a completely different response than the surface level transactional questions of basically, what do you want and how much you got? Can you see the difference? These questions go so much deeper. They uncover emotions, motivations, and the real reason they're doing this project. And once you know the real reason, sales become easy. Because now you're not guessing. Now you know what they want. And you can sell directly to that. All right, let me give you a framework. I like to call it the ask, listen, connect method. Step one is ask powerful questions. Here are 5 questions you can ask in each and every sales call. These are essential questions. Write these down. Question 1, what inspired you to reach out now? This uncovers their timeline and their urgency. Question 2, what's not working with your current space? This helps reveal the problem that you're trying to solve. Question 3, when you imagine this space finished, what does it feel like? This uncovers the emotional outcome they're buying. That's a key piece right there, listeners. Deep question. Question number 4, why is this important to you? And it's so much about how you present these questions is in the tonality and the curiosity. We cover all that in the academy and in the book. When you're thinking about asking these questions, you can ask it many ways. Specifically, why is this important to you? The tonality can be put together in many ways. Let me give you an example. Why is this important to you? Versus, why is this important to you? You see the difference in tonalities? You must become very aware on how you're presenting your questions because you can ask the same question and get completely different results from it. So become aware, even record yourself asking these questions and listen to yourself. Where's the tonality? Or is there an uptick at the end with a question? Why is this important to you? There's an uptick to that. There's an upswing to the sound in your voice if it's a true curiosity question instead of just a statement with a question mark. So why is this important to you? This goes even deeper into motivation. Question number 5, what would this space mean to your family once it's complete? This connects the project to something so much bigger than just a patio. Do you see what we're doing here, listeners? We're digging into the emotional side of things because emotions drive sales. Logic only comes in later to justify it. If we don't get to the emotional triggers, the driving force of this project, someone else is going to, and they're going to get the project. So ask these 5 questions and then STFU. Shut up. Let them think and talk. So this brings us to step number 2, which is listening for the gold. When they answer, don't interrupt. Don't jump in with solutions. Just listen. Listen for emotional words, pride, peace, connection, safety, comfort, joy, whatever it might be. Pain points, embarrassment, frustration, fear. What's coming up for them? Desired outcomes, what they'll experience when it's done. We're future casting, future pacing this project. Take notes, actual notes, because you're going to use those exact words they give you later when you present the proposals. Step number 3, connect what you've heard to what you sell. Now, and only now, do you start talking. But you're not giving a generic pitch. You're selling directly to what they told you. Let me show you what this looks like. A homeowner says, honestly, we never use our backyard. It just wasted space, and we want somewhere for our family that our family actually wants to be. We've drifted apart, and everyone's always on their darn phones, and we need something to bring us back together. Kids are getting older, and they're going to be out of the house pretty soon. Boom. That's gold. They just told you that they're trying to buy and build and create connection for their family. So now you say, what I'm hearing you say is that you want to create a space that pulls your family back together, a space where everyone wants to be, and not because you told them to be, but because it just feels good. Am I close? And they're going to say, yes. Now you paint the vision. All right, so let me show you how we're going to create this space. Picture this. It's a Friday evening. The fire's going. Your kids are out there, not on their phones, but talking, laughing, roasting marshmallows. You and your spouse are sitting on the seating walls with wine. And for the first time in months, everyone's present, connected. That's what we're building. Not just a patio in stone, but the presence where your family comes back together and connects. At that point, your clients are probably nodding, possibly even getting emotional, because you just sold them exactly what they wanted, using their words and their vision. That's the secret weapon. Next, be quiet. Once you say that, silence. Wait. After you ask that powerful question and once you say that powerful statement, wait for their response. Don't talk. Count in your head up to 5. Let them fill the silence. I know it's uncomfortable. Your instinct will be to want to talk, but resist. Because here's what happens. When you stay silent, they keep talking. And the more they talk, the more they reveal. And the more they reveal, the easier the close becomes. Let them tell you what they need to tell you. Give them the space. Now, let me tell you what I've learned. The best sales call I've ever had, I talk maybe 20% of the time. I ask great questions and I shut up. And the homeowners do all the work. They tell me everything I need to know. What they wanted, what they're afraid of, what matters most. And then I just help sell them on what they already told me they wanted. The worst sales calls are the calls where I talk the entire time. I dominate, I explain, I try to convince people that I'm the right choice for them. And that's when I lose. Because I know that if I'm busy talking, I'm never actually learning anything about what that client truly cares about. Silence is power. All right, let me give you 3 fatal mistakes contractors make, and it happens all the time. Fatal mistake number 1, leading with credentials. Hi, I'm John. I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm ICPI certified. I've won awards. We use the best materials. I've got the nicest trucks. My guys are the best guys in the industry. Wah, wah, wah. Nobody cares. Not yet anyway. They don't care about you until they feel heard. So stop leading with credentials and start leading with curiosity. Start with, tell me, what inspired this project? And go from there. Fatal mistake number 2, answering questions they didn't ask. Homeowner says, we want a patio. And you launch into a 22-minute explanation of base prep, materials, installation methods. They didn't ask for that. Instead say, great, help me understand. What are you hoping this patio can do for you? And let them tell you what matters. Fatal mistake number 3, talking past the sale. You've asked great questions. They're engaged. They're nodding. And then you keep talking. You start explaining more features and more processes and more credentials, and you talk them out of the sale. Once they're sold, stop talking. Present the price, shut up, let them say yes. Look, I know this might sound hard, especially if you're already an expert in what you do. You know your stuff. You're proud of your process. And I want you to share it. I get it. I was the same way. But here's what changed for me. I realized the sale isn't about me. It's about them. My job isn't to prove how smart I am. My job is to understand what they want and then show them that I can deliver it. That's it. And the way I show them is by asking great questions, listening deeply, and connecting what I heard to what I sell. Not by lecturing them for an hour. When I made this shift, everything changed. Homeowners started saying things like, "You really get us. You're the only contractor who actually listened. This feels different than other meetings." And you know what the crazy part is? My close rate went through the roof because I stopped trying to convince people and started trying to understand them. So I have a challenge for you guys. On your next sales call, I commit to asking 3 great questions before you pitch anything. Question 1, what inspired you to reach out now? Question 2, when you imagine this project finished, what does it feel like? Question 3, why is this project important to you? Ask, shut up, count to 5, let them talk. Take notes on what they say, and then, and only then, start talking. And when you talk, use their words. Sell back to them what they just told you and watch what happens. I promise you, the less you talk, the more you'll close because people buy what they already tell you what they want to buy. You just have to listen. Now, this is core number 1. Talk less, close more. It's the foundation to the entire Core 10 system. There are 9 other principles just as powerful. We're unpacking each one of them here in a different episode. But for now, just focus on this. Ask more better questions, talk less. Okay. That's it for today. Until the next episode, ask those questions, then zip it and listen. This is Joshua Gillow. This is Sales Made Simple Podcast. Now go ask, listen, and close. Peace out.